I asked ChatGPT to help me making a cute image that I had in mind, a little dome with a bouquet of shamrocks. So this is what it came up with, and I love it. So now we're going to paint it. So if you haven't played with ChatGPT, I don't say you have to, but I just want to say it's pretty fun. Okay, we need this is not really my bigger brush. Hold on. You need a bigger brush. This one I guess will do. A slightly bigger brush, your normal brush, your little brush, and maybe you need your flat brush, and then just a bigger one. First we are going to do all the green inside. If you also have a bit of sparkle paint, like a watercolor gold, it may look pretty on your bow. I have some that I will just have to get. But anyway, I have some, so I can maybe add that in the end. So first, we're just going to go into our normal brush that I always like to use. And even if I tell you what brush I'm using and you feel you want to switch to a different one, definitely do. I always like to just rinse my brush before I start painting, just because in case you, with what you painted the previous time. Okay. I will paint my shamrocks first. I'm going to use two greens. I just realized my sketching lines are still very visible. I always like to clean up when I did my sketching, but I didn't. Okay, so let's do a little swatch on this side. So this is just a pretty grassy green. I kind of like that. I want to go for a grassy, happy green. And then you can also add some yellow to that. So if you want to go grassy green, add some yellow, and you can get a lighter yellowy green. And then to get to a darker one, I'm going to go in my teal, which is more like a viridian green. I mix it with my grass green to get this kind of green. And so those three are kind of fun to use, especially for the green, the St. Patrick's green. First, I'm just going to use the plain green, this first one. So this one just has a lot of water in it. This is why it's lighter. And I'm going to start painting all my leaves. They look like little heart shapes. I'm not going to outline. I'm just going to start filling them in, not too wet. So you don't want to make it too wet. While it's still wet, I'm going to go into the darker green and I'm going to drop it in at the bottoms. So they kind of flow into each other. Yeah. You can take a little bit of the yellow green that we mixed, this one, and you can drop it in at the tops. These steps need to happen pretty fast. And let it be. I say this and then I keep on going. Okay, let it be. Making another green. I'm going to now go to this one. Maybe this one, I'm going to paint only kind of half. I'm not going to go all the way to the top. Come into my yellow. And mix it from the top so it kind of mixes in. Go into my viridian green and blend it in from the bottoms. Use water, tap, 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 to let it kind of flow. make sure you stay into your pencil line so the water will only go where your pencil lines are. So it will not, where you put it, the paint, it will not go out. So fill it in. That didn't make sense. You want to make sure that you fill in all the way touching your pencil lines so you know there's water. So when you come back and you drop in color, you know it will not go outside of those lines. Drop, drop, drop. The more wet you make it, the more it can spread. If you have a bubble and it may just spread all the way to the edge. So just be mindful that that can happen. And what I'm doing is I'm painting, jumping, painting, jumping, painting. So nothing that is wet is touching each other. Or else we're going to just have one big green blob, which could be pretty, but maybe not exactly what we have in mind. Go into the darker one. You can even add some blue to that color, right? So they don't all have to be exactly the same. And first we just want to get color on everyone. I drop it in, I let it dry, I see how it dries. So first we just want to get color everywhere. I paint this one to, they are not really touching. Just be mindful that they can blend into each other. There's obviously never a wrong way to do anything. It's just a pull it in, jump around if you want to, don't if you don't want to. And make sure that you play around with different greens while it is wet. We'll get the best results when it's wet, so they flow into each other. So play around with the light green, the yellow green. They don't have to look the same. And go all the way and do, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 one where you can see the stems. Those are the ones. So focus on those. Drop in color. There's no wrong way. Play and see what is working. That one just got a little bit bigger. Add a little blue to make your color maybe slightly different because they don't always have to look exactly the same. And even if they dry, you can always come back and add another layer on top. So you never have to stop basically. This one is a little bit more yellow. I'm dropping in my green here. And at the bottoms. You can always paint over existing ones. So if you don't like the way it dries, sometimes they just dry one color depending on how much water you had on your brush. And then you can just come back and tap, tap, tap. blend it out, and you will have different ones. It always dries a bit lighter, so it's always good to visit some of them. So these ones only have 3, so if you want to do 4, you will just add another little heart shape. I guess ChatGPT understood a little bit what I wanted, but maybe not all of it. Since this one is behind, I am trying to make it a bit darker by kind of outlining it, but then immediately go back and blend it out. And then I want to take that same color and kind of blend it out like this. Use water, add it in, and I just want to give you a up close. It is never your eyes, it's always me and my camera. Mm. Okay, well, you get the idea. Oh, sometimes it's better if I don't even lift it up. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the watermarks and you could see it. Then I am coming down to the small one. So now I've filled in those 4 and I can do these ones. Less detail on these ones since they are now getting a bit smaller. I mean, I can still do the inside, but I don't have to do them all separate. And I just want to fill it in. Be careful for that teal color. It can quickly go a bit too teal. So add some yellow to just kind of balance it out. And I forgot that behind this one, there's another one. Let me just quickly do this one. So here, yeah. Then there's some more leaves happening. So I say go a bit lighter. So add more yellow and lighter greens. This one go a bit darker because it's kind of hiding behind this one. So frame this one, make sure it's dry before you try to paint next to him. And maybe repeat the color a little bit here. Get some yellow, get some, oop, there's a hair. Get some light greens. This one is a bit dark, so I'm going to see if I can lift a bit of the color. Even though it's behind, the where it's touching the top leaf can be dark, but then when it's going to the outside, you want to go a bit lighter. Yeah, they look kind of good. I'm also going to paint the one that's lying down here, so I don't forget him. And since I have all the green already mixed, this one has 4 leaves, so this one is the lucky one. I'm just mixing my paint. Add a bit yellow. Play around with your different greens. Now you are an expert, so the 4th one, the 4-leaf one, will be so beautiful. And then I'm going to come with the dark color at the same time. So first I'm just doing the one color. Since this one is a bit smaller, I don't know where all the fluff from my paintbrush is coming from. Since this one is a bit smaller, you can do your dark at the same time. And there is another one on this side. So again, not exactly the same greens everywhere. So maybe play around with different greens. It's very small, so I may have to just wait for it to dry before I come back and add the shadow areas. So now I'm going to come back to the one here at the bottom. Oh, it's still a little bit wet. It's okay. That's putting green down. Clean my brush, suck it up, blend it. See if you can do the same on this one. It's very small. Cute. Okay, let it dry over here. Now, let's go back in here. So now we want to paint the background in between. First, let's get a lightish yellowy green, and we want to make this stems. I put my hand down and I just let it come down. I can show you what to do with a flat brush after. And I also want to do a few lines coming down here. Don't go in your bow. So now I have my 4 stems, sort of, kind of, maybe. Maybe you want to give a little stem on this one also. And maybe there's a stem down here too. So I go a bit lighter. They're not exactly the same color everywhere. They don't need to be. And then I want to make a darker color. We can use the teal again. We can use blue again. And we can also add some purple to get a nice darker green that kind of looks like this. A nice dark green. And then I want to paint between my stems. So if your stems are wet, be careful. I want to paint between my stems. And I kind of want them like ending uneven. So it looks like it's just in between. It's just where they all get together. It's a bit darker. And I just want to kind of go like this. If your brush is too big, switch to a smaller brush. I kind of like to do the big areas like this, and then I will come back with a smaller brush. And I want to do my stems like this. And underneath the bow, you can also go slightly darker, like do up and down lines so it looks like stems. And it will look something like this. Okay, oh, it's really nice. And don't do the stem on the two lying down. Don't do that yet. Then I'm switching to my smaller brush. using the same color. So same blue, green, teal, purple mixture to get this dark color. And I can come back with my small brush and I can, it's a little wet, divide. So just go up and down, divide a little bit of your stems. You can make your light stems a bit skinnier with this method too. You just want to come back up and down and fill in. The idea is to fill in the open spaces so it looks like there's a whole bunch stuck together. It's like a little bouquet. And we can always come back and add more green, light green spots. So it looks like there's more leaves. And then don't forget to come down. Don't lose all your light spots. Maybe you have to come back and add a few light spots. Light areas, light green. You can also switch to your flat brush. Make sure when your flat brush is wet that your bristles stay together like this. And then you can lift color up and down, up and down. And you can bring back if you lost a little bit of your stems. Same for here. You can go with your flat brush up and down. And check how they end. Maybe you need some light green shamrock leaves. Like maybe you want to do another leaf here. If your color is very dark, you may have to do this. If your color is light, then maybe you don't need this. If your color, your dark color is really solid, come back with your flat brush and kind of lift a little bit so it's not so solid. If your flower, your leaves and your stems are the same color, make your stem, your leaves around your stem a little darker so they stand out. So the contrast is going to help you so you can see what is happening. Now, if everything is going to look so similar, make a darker color because the contrast again is what helping you. And you can kind of divide your shamrocks a little bit like this. Make sure your hand is up in the air and your lines are really skinny and more sketchy versus outline. And you basically want to focus just in the middle where they are touching each other. So you don't want to go all the way. You just want to kind of focus in the middle. So it looks like this. And then when they are really dark like mine is, you can clean your brush, suck it up, and then you can push it and blending it inside, but make sure your edge that's on the outside of your leaf stays crisp. And therefore you can have like a nice outline and then blend it towards the middle. And then I also like to here and there, make a little line that kind of divides it. Very sketchy, very soft. Don't go straight up. Make sure you curve your lines a little bit. Check your little guys at the bottoms. Maybe they also need a bit of darkness. Don't make the stems. Just focus on your leaves. So don't make the stems yet. You will see why. And then blend some of it out. And they look like this. Oh my gosh. Oh, there. Look, oh, look quickly before I breathe. Right. Now we want to move on to the gold bow. If any of your greens are wet, be careful with this step. I'm going to go into a yellow ochre. You can also go into a yellow and then add some brown to it. And I am going to just paint everything. I'm sticking with my small brush. And I'm just going to paint everything a yellow ochre. My yellow ochre looks a little bit compromised with some brown in it. And if you want to change the color of your bow, that is also up to you. Your first layer is going to be light, like this. Don't outline, make sure you fill it in immediately. If one looks a little darker than the other one, you can see if you can lift color or just repeat the other side so they are matching. This is our first layer. I'm going to use exactly the same color for my gold coins here at the bottom. Make sure you paint all the way from pencil line to pencil line so there's no white. I'm going to let that dry for my first layer. Then I'm going to work on my dome. I'm going to stay with my small brush. I'm going to go in a dark blue. You can also add a bit of black to your dark blue. So the shade of the blue needs to be dark, but it needs to be watery. So the shade is dark, but it's still light. You know what I'm saying? So even though we add black and we add all of this, we add a lot of water to make it much lighter. And then I am going to take that light color. So dark shade, but light. And I'm outlining my dome. I'm putting my hand down so my hand is touching here on the table. And I'm just using the pencil line as a guideline. I often like to do a type of a sketchy line. So I am hiding my, and you can also turn your paper. I'm hiding my pencil lines with this dark line. Kind of like this. And you want to outline the little knobby thingy. And the ball. And now there's a little ball in the middle. and we kind of want to flick around it in a circle shape. So we're going to keep this kind of open and then flick around in a circle shape. See if you can stay in the shape. Wet your brush and go over it to soften it a little bit. Also your outside line. And then flick a little bit or paint a little bit underneath. And so you kind of want to blend it in like this. So it looks a bit three-dimensional. If your outside line at any point is getting too dark, you clean your brush, you suck it up, your flat brush, and you can soften it. I'm going to soften. And then I also want to continue this line here at the bottom. I'm using my round brush, which is not ideal. So go back to your flat brush or try the round brush and see if you like it, the flat brush and see if you like it. So this is on top of my pencil line. Then I want to definitely go to my bigger brush. So go for your bigger brush, the one that we have not yet touched. And very watery. So even if I pick up color, I touch my water cup again. And like a quarter inch-ish, you want to kind of give yourself some lines. It's kind of an up and down, like line. I'm out of paint, which is now not ideal. Whenever you mix new paint, make sure you just touch your cup again. So before you start painting. And go a little bit, you see how I kind of sketch it in? Can go here. Clean your brush. Make sure you suck it up. So touch your towel and then blend it out. Not too much, but like a bit. And then let it dry like this. Kind of like this. So it gives you, so the white we see is actually the thickness of the glass. Before it completely dries, you can come back and add a few more lines here and there. But big brushes makes everything much wet, much too wet. So you have to be careful. Yeah. Clean your brush, suck it up, and you can always blend it out. Now we want to go on the platform, which is wood or anything you want. I'm going to go for brown. I'm going to add a little yellow ochre and maybe some reddish brown, and my color will look something like this. Oh, pretty wood. I want it to be a bit different to my bow. So make sure you go a bit different. And then also remember, this is not our final layer. This is our first layer. I'm going to start by doing this, the outside edge. And this can be very woodsy looking. I paint side to side. You can point your brush to the bottom to get a nice crisp line. And if it's drying, you can always come back with some water on it, but it should be good. I like to paint kind of uneven. I make sure I touch pencil line, pencil line, pencil line. And then I am mixing some black. You can even go for paint gray or for blue to get a darker brown. So you take this color and you mix a little bit with it. And then I kind of like to paint a bit up and down so it looks maybe like tree bark. Make sure you touch the bottoms because this is where the shadow will be. You can even go side to side, oopsies, and then flick up uneven. You can even go a little bit at the top and then tap, 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 a bit uneven. Do make sure you go all the way with some of the dark color on the bottoms. This step needs to be fast, so don't fuss too much because then you clean your brush, you go into that original color that you have, the original, and then you will blend it out from this line. Go up and down, get some texture in there. Go a little side to side, go up and down, side to side. Take water, drop it in. Up and down, little circles. Pick up some of the original color again because if you use just water, you may just lift your original color. So make sure you take some paint to blend stuff in. Leave like spaces. The good thing is, since it is a wooden, it can be very handmade, so this edge can be super uneven and it's going to be great. Add a few more lines and play around. Clean your brush, suck it up, tap, tap, tap to kind of blend it out. And I like the way it looks. Now I want to also go on the top. I have to be careful if it's very wet that it will flow. Mine is actually not that wet. If I can lift it up and I can show you, it's here and there, it's a little bit shiny wet. So I know I can actually go into that. And then in the dome, it's going to be lighter. You can also get some yellow ochre. Now I want to do the top. The top can be completely different. The top can be the inside of the wood. It can be a wood slice where the bark is on the outside and the inside is different. So your first layer can be, oof, there's a drop of water that I need to get. Okay. Um, make sure you don't go in your dome yet. So a big brush makes it easier. Take some yellow ochre. Not too watery because it will push the paint away, but somewhat watery to just make it go. Can leave white spaces. And make sure you point your brush to frame your dome. And then, since you have this cool color on your brush, touch your water cup, come in between. Be careful not to make it too dark. And paint in between. And this is why we haven't painted the stem yet, because it's too difficult to paint around your stem, but it's easier to paint around your leaves. The top should be a nice curvy line. Add water. You can also switch to a small brush to go close to your shamrocks if you want to. Flick it up underneath your stems. Go around your coins. As long as your flat brush has a good point, you can totally paint with the same brush. And then when it's wet, you can kind of come back and add a few lines and it will just flow. Make sure that you don't have too much white spaces around your leaves without blending them. Make sure you touch the bottoms kind of here where you have your dome. And then while it's slightly wet, get a darker brown. You can add some black, you can add blue. Same color we used here at the bottom will work perfectly. And drop it in underneath. I do tap, 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 so it can kind of blend. I point my brush so I can see kind of where I do my taps. Go underneath your shamrock a little bit, especially here close to your body kind of. You want to give us a bit of a shadow. So same dark color you use for the bottom section. Give your coins a little bit of a smiley face. Go around this one. Maybe go a bit here again. And you may have to play around, go back and then maybe flick up somewhat of that dark color. So your bottom of your stems kind of blend in so it is in the shadow. You can also take the same color and kind of come from underneath the bow. And then take this dark color and do your edge. And then kind of blend it out. So I haven't touched the paint again. I just kind of did the same brush stroke. So a big brush just holds a lot more water, so it makes it easier. Do come and blend these out a bit so they don't look so weird under your gold. And then we are going to sew. So see how I have this light blue line. I'm going to leave the light edge touching the wood. I'm going to focus on the top edge of that line. And your line will be sketchy. I'm going to turn my paper to the side so it's easy for me to do it. I'm going to get a dark blue, so the same color, but maybe not so much water, so it's stronger. And I'm going to, very sketchy on the top, give myself here and there a little outline. I like to do this sketchy line. So it's not a solid line to begin with. See how I did that? So I don't go all the way to the edge. I kind of go on that one. And so the light color will be in between. So then I can take the same color and I can kind of sketch it more towards the wood. Like this. So now I have that edge, which kind of looks like the rim of my dome. I go into my flat brush. Remember, your flat brush bristles needs to stay together for this to work really well. And on top, I can connect them. So the bristles, so it's a damp brush, so you would wet it, but you would touch your towel to kind of lift a little bit of the, suck up a little bit of the water. And this way, this method kind of um, lift, but also connect at the same time. And then I can just do it at this bottom part too. Be very careful with the flat brush because you can easily break your paper. And now I have kind of this cool edge. And if it didn't work for you, then you just have a different dome. There's so many different kinds. One shall not limit ourselves to just one kind of dome. You can also go up on the outside edge with a darker color. You can just do it with a flat brush or switch to a different brush and feel how it feels. And then I just have to make my paint wet. I'm still with my flat brush where the ball and the dome is connecting. Make a little line. Make a little line. Maybe make a little line. Sometimes the flat brush, because you cannot really control the brush strokes, makes really cool reflections. So definitely play with a flat brush if you have one. Do make sure that your bristles stay together. I always, after I clean it, I will squish it so it stays like that. And then I let it dry flat on my towel. Okay, so I add some dark areas, dark areas, dark area. The little ball got a little lost. So just bring it back. You can also just paint with the little tip of your flat brush if you turn it. And now we have to make our bow look a little bit more three-dimensional. I'm using my small brush and yellow ochre with some brown in it. And I am going to flick kind of like that. Some lines to the side. I'm also going to fill in this bottom oval. Bottom oval. And flick a few lines to the side. And up and down. And then where it's touching, you want to kind of bring it out. So this is our medium color, and then I can clean my brush. I come with water and I can blend out and pull out the bow folds. So now I see highlight and medium. Highlight and medium. Then I take a tiny amount of purple and I mix it with that brown and that yellow ochre. Tiny amount of purple. And I'm going to concentrate it where it's touching. And I'm just going to flick in the middle of that dark color we just did. And if it's wet, it may not work, so you have to wait. I have to wait a bit. So brown, yellow ochre, and a tiny bit of purple. Always make sure you have the bow color and then you come back and add some purple and start with like one or two hair at a time. Let's do these ovals. They should be dry for us to do. The top line, the top pencil line is getting more, and the bottom pencil line is getting a bit less in that oval. See that? Clean your brush and blend it out. Now, sometimes it's hard to do all of this with a small brush. So by any point, if you want to switch to a different brush, you should. And then I'm going to just flick a little bit with that purple also on the big bow that's coming down. You can make folds or you can just make a shadow. And then I like to just blend it out a tiny, tiny bit. Make sure your edges of your bow is pretty so we can see it. So if it was very light, maybe go back. And let's see if I can do the other side. So I do the flick of the shadow color on top of the already there folds. And then outline just a tiny triangle here on the edges. Clean your brush, suck it up, go into your original yellow ochre and kind of blend it out. So the triangle that you make, it's a very soft triangle. And you're going to do it the same way, and it will make your bow feel three-dimensional. So I go up and down, and then I just go skinny, skinny, skinny. I know it's upside down. Clean your brush. And pull it out. And it just gives that round feel. And then if you want to, we can add splatter, of course, and we can have a shadow. I'm going to go switch to my bigger brush. I'm going to do a black and bluish shadow. I touch my watercolor before I paint it, and I make sure my paintbrush is touching the bottom of the wood. And then I just kind of go side to side, clean my brush, suck it up, and mess up the edges so they're not so perfect. And then it looks like it will not look like it's floating up in the air, which is always helpful. And then if you want to, you can add gold to your, and even splatter with gold would be very pretty. I have this tiny little set that's really easy to use and it's really small and cute. You can see my favorite color. Definitely see which one I prefer. Plain, I'm switching to my medium brush kind of. And then any color you want, I'm gonna go for this one. And you just paint. So this is never so opaque. So you will just kind of give a shimmer. It's not gonna cover your color. Do give to your gold coins here at the bottoms. So then when you lift it up, I don't know if you can see, but it's very shimmery. It's very pretty. And then if you want to, you can splatter with gold just for extra fun. If you splatter by accident on top, you can cover it with your towel or you clean your brush and then you just kind of touch it and you can lift most of the color. So if you made like a little pattern, if that happens. And if you don't want the outside splatter, you can just kind of swish it with water, and then take your towel, a clean towel, and then just suck it up. Do never wipe it because you will make a little stripe that you cannot can get rid of. Yeah, now we just kind of do it in the inside. It looks pretty. Cute. Have fun painting this.